Why are my glasses always so dirty? Ew. Disgusting. Okay, good enough. Hi, my name is Bente, I'm the Norse Witch, and this video is about spells using household items. So, before I start out with this video, I just want to quickly say, yes, I have a weird plaster on my face. I had some small surgery on my face. Turns out infected piercings aren't fun. Just to get that out there before I start the video. So I recently made a video about the things that I wish I knew before I was starting out as a witch. And in this video I mentioned that you don't need fancy materials or fancy tools or fancy anything for your spell work. So I thought in this video I would give you some examples of spells that you can do either without materials or with household items that you will probably already have at home. So this video is probably good for either beginner witches that don't have many materials yet, or maybe witches that just can't afford these very expensive materials that some spells require. But since these spells are pretty basic and they're not as obvious, maybe this video is also good for some of you broom-closeted witches out there. These spells are pretty basic, that's what they're meant for, but you can always spruce them up by maybe doing the spell work on a specific day of the week or during a specific moon phase, or maybe you want to incorporate more correspondences, so you incorporate more herbs or more crystals or more color correspondences. And some of the spells that I'm giving you in this video you can also combine, so that's fun. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. The first thing that I want to talk about is Sigil Magic. So Sigil Magic is so versatile. You can do basically anything with sigils, and that's why I really love them. And you only need a piece of paper and a pen. That's it. Nothing more. And I guess everyone has a piece of paper and a pen at home, right? So what you do with Sigil Magic is that you basically create a small symbol from your intention. So you write out your intention and then you create a symbol from it. There are so many ways you can create a sigil that I will not go into that in this video. I will make a separate video for that because it's just a very big topic. Yeah, what you basically do is you create a symbol and you write it on maybe on a piece of paper. You can also write it on your walls or whatever you want. Whatever you do with a sigil is very depending on the spell that you're doing, on your spell intention. So maybe if I'm making a sigil for house protection, then I would probably write it on the wall or something. But if I want to have a sigil that I can carry with me, I will probably write it on a piece of paper and maybe put it in my pocket. Or what I was doing for a long time is I actually had a sigil in my phone case. That's pretty great because you probably have your phone with you at all times. So that's a way you can ensure that you have the sigil with you, because I'm a person that forgets everything. So if I would tell myself to put my sigil paper in my pocket every day, I would forget it like 50% of the times. So as I was saying, whatever you do with the sigil that you created is very depending on the spell intention. A lot of people write it on a piece of paper and then they hide it somewhere so it can do its work. Some people like to burn their sigils. That's also a fun way to incorporate the element of fire in the spell. You could also bury the sigil outside in the earth to incorporate the earth element, or there's nothing that you can't do. And a very fun thing is that you can combine Sigil Magic with a lot of other things. So the next spell that I want to talk about is a freezing spell. It's a great way of releasing worries or fears or banishing bad habits. You could also banish or freeze other people, which I personally don't recommend, but it's not my responsibility to tell you what to do. That's your responsibility to decide. So I'm just mentioning it here. You could do it. I don't recommend it. So for a freezing spell, the only thing you need is, once again, a piece of paper and a pen. But you also need a small container you can put water and the piece of paper in. So maybe just a small bowl. Then, as I said, you need water. And you either need a freezer where you can put the bowl into, or maybe it's winter and it's freezing outside, then you can just put the bowl outside. And you need a stove because you need to boil some water. So that's it. Really nothing fancy. So what you do for this spell is pretty basic. You think of what you want to release. Maybe you want to release a bad habit that you have. You write it on the piece of paper, and that's where you can combine it with Sigil Magic too, because you can also make a sigil for your intention and write that on the piece of paper. But if you don't want to use Sigil Magic, you can just write your intention, whatever you want to release, on the piece of paper. You fold it, and you then take your small container, your small bowl, put water in it. Then you charge it with the intention that this water and this bowl, it releases whatever you put into the bowl. So if you take the piece of paper and put it in the bowl, it will release it. So you charge the bowl of water with that intention, and then you put the piece of paper into it. The next thing you do is you take the bowl and you put it in the freezer, or as I said, if you're doing it during winter and it's freezing outside, then you can just put the bowl outside, and then you wait until the water is completely frozen. As soon as the water is completely frozen, you can get it out of the freezer and you boil some water in a pot. You then wait a couple of minutes so you can get the ice block out of the bowl, and you put it into the boiling water so that it can melt. And what then happens is, while the ice block is melting in the boiling water, it releases the paper, and while doing that, it also releases whatever is written on the paper. So while the water is boiling and the ice is melting in the boiling water, you can maybe visualize what you want to release, or you can just concentrate on it, you can chant, you can do whatever you like. And also with that spell, you can be so creative, because as I said, you can work with sigils instead of just writing a sentence on the piece of paper. You can work with colors, because you can use a pen that has a specific color that corresponds with your intention, or you can also use a piece of paper that has a specific color. You could add herbs to the water or crystals to the water. You can basically do anything with it. So the next spell is probably one of the most basic ones in this video, because it only incorporates a handful of soil. That's it. So it's also a great releasing spell. The only thing you need to do for that spell is just go outside on the bare earth, take a handful of soil, a good nice big hand of soil, and start projecting whatever you want to release in that hand of soil. And as soon as you're done projecting whatever you want to release into the soil, you just throw it over your shoulder. Maybe make sure that there's no one standing behind you that you hit with the soil. And yeah, what happens when you throw the soil over your shoulder is you release what you projected into the soil. The only thing you need to make sure is that when you have thrown the soil over your shoulder, you don't look back, you just walk away. Because you don't want to look back on whatever you want to release. You just walk away and you leave it behind. That's it. Yeah, basic spells! Boop, boop. Oh, I love tea. I love tea. The next thing is something that I actually haven't tried myself yet, but I really want to try, and that's knot magic. For knot magic, you probably guessed it, you only need a piece of string where you can tie a knot into it. That's it. And the fun thing is that you can use knot magic for either attracting energies or releasing or banishing them. So for an attraction spell using knot magic, you just have to take the piece of string and really concentrate on the thing that you want to attract. Like really concentrate on it, and maybe you could visualize it. The more emotions you get into it, the better it is. And as soon as you're done doing that, you just hold that level of concentration and you quickly tie a knot into the string and you pull it tight very quickly. And for a releasing spell using knot magic, you start out by doing the same thing. You take your string, you concentrate on whatever you want to release. So maybe it's something that you're feeling very emotional about, that you're really sad about. And again, you concentrate on it very well. You try to put as much emotion into it as you can. You could even start crying. If you want to release something that hurts you very deeply so that you feel like you need to cry, then cry. That's great. That's emotion. That's awesome. So you do that. And again, as with the attraction spell, you tie a knot very quickly and very tightly. And then you just leave that piece of string with a knot wherever you were. You walk away from it and you try to distract yourself from it the best that you can. Maybe you prepare some food, or you take a shower, or you take a walk. Whatever you have to do to distract yourself from the knot that you just tied, the better. And as soon as you have distracted yourself so well that you're in a very calm and relaxed state again, you walk back to your string with the knot and you open the knot. And by doing that in a very calm and relaxed state, you have released all the emotions that you put into the knot. Knot, knot, knot. I won't be able to say knot anymore. I'm sorry, this video will be ages long. I have so many spells that I want to talk to you about because there's so many fun basic spells. Well, my first 30-minute video, maybe? So the next thing is a releasing fire. And I love working with that because I love working with the element of fire. I hold it very dearly. I love it, I feel it. But whatever. It's basically the same thing that I already mentioned on the topic of sigil magic. You can do it with a sigil, but you can also just write whatever you want to release on a piece of paper and throw it in a fire and burn it. That's it. Of course, you have to concentrate and maybe visualize on what you want to release while the piece of paper is burning. But yeah, pretty basic. You can also combine it with sigil magic, you can combine it with colors, you can also burn herbs with the piece of paper. A lot of fun. Next. What's the next one? Oh, the next one is fun. The next one are basic witch bottles. I also won't go very deeply into that topic because I really want to make a separate video on that because I love witch bottles. It's one of the things that I do most often. But I just want to quickly say that a lot of people get intimidated by witch bottles because if you see some online, they're mostly very pretty and they have a lot of stuff in them, a lot of wax and like trinkets hanging off the bottle and stuff like that. But the very basic witch bottles you can just make by using some glass jar that you already have at home, maybe a pickle jar or something like that. Of course, you should clean and cleanse it physically and energetically before you use it. But you can just use that jar and you can just use some herbs from your spice rack. I feel like most herbs that are used very frequently, magically, are some that you already use as spices. So like basil, thyme, rosemary, sage. You probably already have them at home in your spice rack. Oh, another nice cleansing and releasing spell. If you have a tub, or if you don't have a tub, you can do a releasing bath spell. The most basic thing you can do is just using some bath salt and charging that bath salt with the intention that it should release whatever whatever comes in contact with it, basically. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you want to release, what would you want to release? Maybe you want to release anxiety. Then you just take your bath salt and charge it with the intention that it should release anxiety. You fill your tub with water, you put the bath salt into it, and you just take a bath. And while you're bathing, you can visualize releasing the anxiety, and that like everything flows out of your body. That's the most basic releasing bath spell that you can do. You can also do it if you don't have a tub. You can just take a small like sachet bag thingy and put the bath salt into that and either hang it off the shower head, or you can just rub your body with it. I personally don't have a tub. I'm very sad about that. I don't have a tub, but where I live, having a tub is very fancy, so I don't have one. So I always just do that. I put everything in a little sachet and I rub my body with it and visualize myself being cleansed everywhere the sachet touches my body. And if you want to make it more fancy or you want to incorporate more stuff into it, you could also put crystals or herbs into the sachet or like right into the bath water. You can maybe work with colors again. What do I have left? I have 3 spells left. Another 3 spells, and I'm already filming for 40 minutes. Okay, again, a very basic one. If you want a very basic ward for your house, you can just use salt and sprinkle it on your windowsills and on your doorsteps, or maybe if you're living in your own house, then you can sprinkle it all the way around your house. I have 2 things left. One of them is candle magic, which again is so versatile that I will make a separate video covering that topic. I have a cat hair on my mouth. Yeah, so where was I? Candle magic. Right, candle magic is again very versatile. I will make a separate video on it, but I still want to incorporate it in this video because you can just take a white candle and do your candle magic with that. That's also a great thing that you can do as a broom closeted witch because it's just a white candle burning. If you just charge it with your intention, you don't even have to like put any words or symbols onto it. No oils, no herbs, nothing. You can just take a white candle and burn it, and beforehand of course charge it with your intention. But yeah, you will basically just have a white candle burning somewhere in your room, and that's not very suspicious, right? Oh no. Now I have the song from the Don't Be Suspicious, Don't Be Suspicious TikTok song in my head. No!
Don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious.
And the last thing is something you don't need anything for, just yourself and your mind and your will, and that's meditation. Meditation by itself is a very great way to release anything that you want to release or attract anything you want to attract. You can do so much just by meditating. And yes, I know it's not easy, it's pretty hard, but as soon as you've mastered it, you can do so much by just meditating. Some examples: you can create a personal ward. You can create a ward for your house or your room or whatever you want. You can attract anything you want by visualizing it. You can cleanse and open your chakras. You can ground. You can send energies to other people. There's really so much you can do by just meditating. And what is really fun about doing spells just by meditating is that you feel immediate results. At least in my experience, it's that way. Now that I've meditated for quite some time and I'm really used to it, I really feel immediate results when I work maybe on my aura or my chakras, or I'm connecting to earth and sky energies, anything like that. I feel the changes energetically, and that's pretty amazing to just feel the results immediately. So that's the end of this video. I really hope that I helped you out a little bit and that you now maybe have some ideas on spells that you can do without many materials. If you tried one of the spells out, then tell me about it. Tell me in the comments, or maybe contact me on Instagram and tell me about how it went. And as always, feel free to subscribe and leave a thumbs up. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!